What happens when a global leader links a Nobel Peace Prize decision to future policy choices? Why did a private message to Norway suddenly become part of a wider political discussion? And how did Greenland return to the center of conversations about Arctic security and transatlantic relations? In the past, Greenland was often discussed as a strategic interest. Now, it is appearing in messages that combine diplomacy, trade, and alliance expectations. That raises new questions for Europe and for the United States. Why would a Nobel decision be mentioned in a message about future priorities? What does it reveal about how recognition and politics can intersect? And how could this shape the next phase of discussions around Greenland and the Arctic? There is also another layer. A separate public moment involving a Nobel medal and a symbolic gesture, and a clear reminder from the Nobel institutions about what can and cannot be transferred. So what is really being said? What is confirmed publicly? And what may be the wider impact on negotiations, trust, and policy choices going forward? Reports describe a letter sent by U.S. President Donald Trump to the Prime Minister of Norway, Jonas Gahr Store. In the excerpt shared publicly, Trump connects his focus on peace to the fact that he did not receive the Nobel Peace Prize. In the reported wording, he suggests that because Norway did not award him the Nobel Peace Prize for preventing more than 8 major conflicts, he no longer feels obligated to think purely in terms of peace. He adds that peace can remain an important theme, but he can now focus on what he considers good and appropriate for the United States. Norway's leadership has publicly emphasized that the Nobel Peace Prize is decided by the Norwegian Nobel Committee and not by the Norwegian government. That distinction matters because it shows how symbolic recognition can become connected to political messaging even when formal responsibility is separate. The same message also returns to Greenland. Trump questions whether Denmark should hold Greenland if it cannot ensure security in the Arctic environment. He refers to concerns about activity and influence from Russia and China in the region. He also argues that NATO should do more for the United States and that Greenland is central to broader safety considerations. This creates a wider diplomatic effect because Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark and has its own local government. Danish and Greenlandic authorities have repeatedly emphasized sovereignty and territorial integrity and have pushed for respect and dialogue. At the same time, the Arctic already includes long-standing cooperation frameworks. The United States has maintained a long-standing military presence in Greenland for decades, and NATO partners also focus on Arctic awareness and coordination. This means the debate is not only about geography, but also about how cooperation is defined and what expectations allies place on each other. Now another element entered the public discussion. The 2025 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. Reports say she later presented her Nobel medal to Trump as a symbolic gesture. After that gesture, the Norwegian Nobel Committee and the Nobel Peace Prize institutions publicly reaffirmed a key rule. A Nobel Prize cannot be revoked, shared, or transferred, and the laureate status remains with the original recipient. This matters for the overall story because it highlights two different themes at once. First, recognition and symbolism are being used to shape political narratives. Second, formal institutions set limits on what symbolic gestures can change. Machado has publicly expressed that she believes Trump deserves recognition for his role in international outcomes connected to Venezuela. But the Nobel institutions have been clear that symbolic actions do not alter official laureate status. So the broader picture becomes more complex. A private letter becomes public. The Nobel Prize becomes part of political language. Greenland becomes part of alliance debate. and institutions respond by emphasizing rules and boundaries. Analysts see several possible directions. One scenario is continued diplomatic management, where European leaders focus on reassurance and practical Arctic cooperation. Another is rising trade pressure that increases political tension while still leaving room for negotiation. A third path is a longer period where Greenland remains a recurring topic used in messaging about alliances, recognition, and strategic priorities. What is clear is that these conversations now connect multiple issues: Arctic planning, alliance expectations, trade measures, and symbolic politics. That combination can shape how future negotiations are framed and how quickly trust can be built or weakened.